All right, people, this is going to be a very brief one on secondary subject confirmation. This is part 2 of secondary subject confirmation, and that's just my own term that I give it. When somebody is trying to push off a certain something that is either not correct or false, or like not supposed to be that way, or evil, or what have you, or wrong, and they're trying to push it off as normal, and just as normal. This is a very, very sneaky way that it's being done, especially in the world of TV and commercials and radio or music or what have you. In today's media, even advertising, and when you want to push that particular whatever it is off as correct, or just that's the way things are and the way we do things, that's how they do it. It's called secondary subject confirmation. Now, this is part 2 because what I did mention in part 1 was the visual side to it. The visual side to it. And there is a visual side to it. So let's say and sometimes they even go off at the same time. And a lot of times, like especially now, what I've noticed recently, and this is, I guess, 2017, almost 2018 already, they are really, and this works very well, people, if you don't know or haven't noticed, for people who have an agenda, or for groups who have an agenda, or particular agenda, and this 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 needs to be understood before they can move on and start to do this and this, and it has to be embedded in people's heads and people's minds, and then you can move on and do this other stuff when actually the stuff from square one was wrong. So anyhow, that's what they're doing with the conversation part of it. The visuals, they can do it like this, basically. And this is, again, sometimes they go off at the same time. And I've seen that many times recently because they seem to be hurrying for some reason. Well, actually, I've got a pretty good idea why. But let me just say that, all I was just to be, let's just say for safeguard purposes, I do have to say all this could be, maybe, possibly, could be, might be, off the top of my head, maybe, could be, possibly, just might be, apparently, whatever else you can think of like that. Okay, that's over. But they can do this, or they have been doing this, but they can do it in many ways, and because they seem to be hurrying, very much so as of late. Sometimes they pancake them on top of one another, and what is being done audio-wise is also being done visually, and they can do them at the same time. So part 2 as far as covering the visual part of it, let's say 2 people are having a conversation, and you've got, let's say, an American flag in the background. Okay, you've got an American flag in the background, and you've got, somebody's trying to get the point across to somebody that, look, when let's say the mom's having the argument with, not an argument, but like, trying to teach something to her child who is 15, and they're getting ready to turn 16, and they're like, the child's like, yeah, I can't wait so I can drive and do all this other stuff. And the mom's like, well, I hope you're going to be able to, get a job. And what are you going to do with a job? Because, you are for a job, because let me tell you, to do all that stuff, I mean, you really got to think about your job. You really got to think about that money. there's a lot of things being pushed here. I'm trying to guide myself as I go along, but secondary subject confirmation in this is multi, many, and plural, and all that stuff. But anyhow, she's trying to, in other words, the main point of that conversation is, what are you going to do for a job? What are you going to do to get all that money to pay? Because she's saying you got to pay for your insurance, you got to pay for your license fees, your registration and licensing, your gas, your insurance. And there actually was a episode like that, if I remember correctly, of the Cosby Show. I think they were trying to explain that to Theo or something. Just about every sitcom's covered that, it seems. But anyhow, the visual part of it is this. There will be an American flag patch maybe on somebody's jacket with that gold trim around it. And, unless somebody tells you, or you learn it on your own. I was kind of in the same boat at one point in my life too, people. I didn't know the difference and what it meant with the gold fringe around the flag or not. But one guy's got it on his jacket, and there's another American flag that just happens to be, in the background somewhere, a little miniature flag hanging out of the, the pencil and pen cup thingy holder that, a lot of families keep inside their kitchens, and that seems to be popping out of that. It's always coincidentally. Or somebody's got it up, a little home version of one up on their wall somewhere in the kitchen in the background, but it just happens to be right in the middle of the mom and the child as they're talking. All right, well, they've already thrown, let's see. You have to have car insurance. You have to have vehicle registration and licensing. You have to have a driver's license. You have to have, because it takes gasoline. So that's kind of a secondary. But the visuals, of course, are, I guess if there's two of them, but is that American flag in the back. And even on the guy's jacket. Now, those of you who know what I'm talking about, excuse me, I'm sorry. Those of you who know what I'm talking about will know that the actual American flag, it doesn't matter if it has the gold fringe around it or not. That flag, if the stripes are going horizontally, it is a military flag. And, the gold fringe around the flag, around the American flag, yes, it does indicate something. Usually it indicates a particular type of law that it's referring to. If you see that in your courts, I won't go into that, but in this segment here, but it does indicate a particular type, of law, of legal court system law, however you want to say it, that's being referred to at that time and stating a domain of some sort. But if we're just speaking about the American flag, which has been referenced now twice in this one scene, somewhere in the kitchen, and then maybe a patch on somebody's clothing, people, an American flag with horizontal stripes is a military flag. If you look up what the flag is actually supposed to be, you will find out. Look up the American. This is the way it's supposed to be. And this is as I have come to learn it to the best of my ability, to the best that I know. Because certain entities can't seem to, be able to teach their, public children, what one correct version is, and especially the correct one. Replacing it with, even worse, with a false education. Anyhow, if you look up the American civil flag, you will find that the flag has straight up and down red and white stripes on it. Straight up and down. They're straight up and down. They're vertical. They're not horizontal. The American civil flag has, and I do believe, yes, it has 13 still, but it's 13 vertical stripes that go from left to right, not top to bottom and horizontal. And the stars, well, on the military flag, as you know now, the blue square that has the white stars area, that is the same. And yes, it still does have, to the best of my knowledge. But yeah, but anyhow, the blue square area with the stars is actually a white square area with blue stars and a white background, or square background. Now, again, this is to the best of my knowledge. Again, you know, they come out and because here's the thing that you can actually prove to yourself. Just look that up, and then go to your sources that you trust the most and see what they have to say about it. And if they come to you and say, or you pull it up and it says the same thing that what I'm saying. Now imagine what we know as the, let's just leave out the gold fringe and the yellow tassels hanging off the bottom of it, or off the side of it, and the fobs, I think they call them fobs. Leave off all that and just imagine the flag itself. Okay, so the 50 stars, the 13 stripes, and the square, the red, white, and blue, and all that stuff. All right. If you come back from your source, the one, or no, source says, that's the way we always say, it's usually confirmed best, and you come back and you find that they will tell you the same thing, that they have confirmed that yes, the American civil flag is actually, the civil flag has 13 red and white stripes, yes, but they are vertical, left to right, or right to left, whatever, left to right. They are not horizontal, top to bottom or bottom to top. They are vertical, 13 vertical stripes, and the square area is white, and it has blue stars. Now that is, as to the best of my knowledge, as many times as I have confirmed what the real actual one looks like and how it's supposed to be, that is what I have come up with every time. Whereas before, the best version I could come up with was, oh, it can't have that yellow fringe around it and the fobs off of it. So do yourself a favor, people. There you go. That's secondary subject confirmation on a visual. You know, that just happens to very subtly. Some people refer to it, and if you see, like, and some people don't refer to it as, you see all those, I mean, and some of them are, but they'll say, look at all this symbolism that's in the movie itself, or look at all the symbolism that's here and there, or whatever. That is true on a lot of occasions, and that's just it's a control freak power trip thing. That's whatever. Anyway, but it's a very good way to camouflage secondary subject confirmation on the visual side, where it's sitting subtly in the background, but it's in there as fact, and they don't have to say a word because they've done it leading up to something else. Okay, and that's part two. That's the visual. I'll talk to you soon. Everybody take care. Bye.